I want to introduce you to Polybags. So this is the company that I got started with when I was first making my shortbread biscuits in the kitchen at home. I needed bags, something I could put my cookies into and it would look good. And initially I started out with little plastic bags that I bought off Amazon or from Lakeland, and they were great. They worked, but they were quite expensive. You know, you're talking 30, 40p per bag by the time you work it out. It's only a couple of pounds for a pack of 10 or a pack of 20 bags. But as the business grew, I needed a lot more bags, a much more cost-effective way of scaling. So I also needed to prove that those bags are food safe. So when you buy stuff off Amazon or eBay, it comes with a nice picture and shows food in it, but there's no guarantee it is actually food safe. So it more than likely is, but you can't actually guarantee it. So if an environmental health officer comes to you or you get a complaint about your biscuits, so the worst case scenario, you get an investigation. Somebody will come to you and say, can you prove those are food safe bags? If they sit in a bit of heat or there's too much moisture or something coming out of your product or they're sitting up against something else in the packaging, does the material leach chemicals into your product? Does it turn it toxic? And does it actually poison your product? If you can't produce a certificate that says, no, it's food safe, there you go, then you're in trouble. So the great thing is the Polybags website has as much education as it does product, and I'll take you through a few of the things in here, but it's brilliant, and you can download those certificates that prove they're food safe. Now, the trick is finding the food safe products on the site, and they make that easy for you as well. So this is polybags.co.uk. They have a couple of other great features, and they're not hidden features or secrets or anything. They're just in there, but you've got to go and look, and you'll see what's here. First thing we'll do is down the left-hand side, you'll see a category produce and food bags. We'll click into it. This is not what you want for retail. These are your fruit and veg bags. You pick up a few apples or bananas or something and you want to put them in a bag in supermarket. That's what these are for. These are grocery shop bags. You just pop them in there. They do a few stand-up food pouches and things, but we're looking at retail bags for bakery products. So go back up here and click on display bags. So as I mentioned, you need a food safe bag, and not all of these are, but we'll go into the first ones here. Clear retail display bags, that's what we're looking for. You'll see sealable retail display bags. Just a note on those. I wondered this at the start. Can I just put my bags in and press clip those wee seals, little lunchbox seals that you get, you press them and squeeze them together, and then they're pretty airtight. Those are for the customer, they're not for you. And I'll show you why. So let's see if I can go to peel and seal bags here. Is that the ones? That's the sticky ones. You can peel back the little tear off strip. You pull that off and then squeeze it together and it sticks. Again, it's not ideal because they're not consistent. There's resealable stand-up pouches. So we'll go into those and get a clear one here. Clear display pouch. So it's got a food safe symbol. So these wee icons, these are throughout the Polybag site. They've also got a BRC or BRCGS. That's the mini version of BRC. So the British Retail Consortium. Those are like the big guys for compliance. If you want to export to the US, you need to be BRC certified because the FDA, the food regulators in America, will ask for your BRC number. If you're not doing certification, don't worry about that. But if you need something that's BRC certified, that's the icon to look for. What most of us at the beginning are looking for, the startups are looking for this little knife and fork. That's the symbol that shows you it's food safe, and it shows there it applies to 7 out of 7 products. So everything in here is food safe, but we don't want these. These are the little sealable pouches. If I click on that and zoom in, that little bit there, that's your seal that you open up, pour the food in, and then press closed. Above that, you'll see a little notch. That's a tear notch. That's because above the notch, you're meant to heat seal that. You're meant to put that through a jaw sealer, an L sealer, a horizontal bagger, flow wrapper, whatever it is. You're meant to put a product with this bag in there and heat seal that so that it can't be opened. There's 2 reasons for that. One is shelf life. You can guarantee that bag is absolutely sealed. Air is not getting in or out. Moisture is not getting in or out. Whatever way it's packaged is the way it arrives with the customer. Those little press seals, can't guarantee that somebody can open it, put something in it, take something out and close it again. So that's the other aspect, is food security. Stops people tampering with your food. As however unlikely that is, it markets, whatever it is, it's in control, under your control until you sell it. It makes people nervous. They're not convinced that that is sealed and it's airtight. And you also can't guarantee that we airtight seal with those seals. So they're good for the customer. People like them because they can reseal the product and it helps keep it fresher for longer, but it's not a guarantee. You need a heat seal, which goes above that wee notch. That notch is so they can tear the bag open and get to the seal. So we don't want resealable bags, not for us anyway. Pop back to clear retail display bags. So display bags and clear retail display bags. These are just plain plastic bags. The little cookie bags you might get off Amazon or Lakeland. There's a selection there, multi-purpose retail display bags. Again, lots of icons. There's the one that we need, food safe packaging. Now, some of these are grayed out because it applies to some of the products, but not all of them. But food safe applies to all of them. Number 5, recyclable. So there are different types of packaging that are recyclable. Recyclable in different ways, industrially recyclable, home recyclable. It's just an absolute maze. But they're all food safe, and some of them are polypropylene. 8 out of 12 of them can be recycled. Now, the flexible recycling, flexible plastic recycling typically doesn't happen at home. It's you take it to the bigger supermarkets and they will do it. It's commercially done at scale. So don't say it's recyclable if it's not home recyclable, because that annoys people. It just confuses them. But here's a selection of bags. We know they're all food safe. Have a browse through. Just look at the sizes. These are the dimensions, width and height and length. So they were looking at what fits your product. So there's one there, would be wide enough for my size of biscuits. I would work out how high they stack, and then I could drop them in one at a time. Clear plastic, what they call crystal clear. So the product inside is easily seen. So I could stack quite a few shortbread biscuits in there and then heat seal the top of that bag. And then it's up to myself whether I want to trim the top of that or just leave it. Depends how much space is left. People don't want a big piece of plastic that's folding and overhanging at the end. It looks wasteful. It's more expensive for you. You want to try and buy the smallest bag you need to have as little air in there as possible, but not have wastage. If you have to do another step of cutting plastic off, it's just more work for you. So that's quite a nice looking size bag. What I can do is request a free sample. So this is a brilliant thing with Polybags. If you're not quite sure, you can request a few samples. This blue code up here is what you're looking for. So BioDis10 is the code for that one. Make a note of 2 or 3 codes. When you click on request a free sample, it will put it in there automatically, but you can add in a few more codes. So I put in there, comma, and then whatever the codes are. I can pop them in and ask for a couple of free samples. They'll send them out, test them with your product, see which one works, and then you can go back and order it. It's brilliant, and they literally just send you out a couple of free samples to let you try them out. Just beware some of these. You'll see an advert, there's one here on the right hand side there, says biodegradable. It's quite nice to have that kind of info on your bag, but if I just pop over and click on that one, I'll highlight it here. You'll see here it says learn more at polymateria.com. It's great, it's biodegradable, it gives you more information. Depends on your brand whether you want somebody else's brand on your bag. So just keep an eye out for that. That's whether it's up to personal preference whether you want it or not. I didn't like it. I was sending people to another brand, another company to look at, distracting from the fact that they were I want to send them my website, send them my brand. But it's just something to keep an eye out for. These ones are all clear. There's nothing printed on those ones, but I picked the size that I want and I can pop over here and buy them. Now, don't be put off by prices when you first look at them. Because if you're used to buying 10, 20, 50 bags from Amazon or eBay, and you come in here and look, whoa, I have to buy 1,000 bags. It's straightforward. Yeah, it's 1,000 bags, but as your business grows, you'll go through 1,000 bags, no problem. And they also have shelf life of years, so don't panic. When you work out the actual cost, so that's $62.70 ex VAT, so you've got to add the VAT on. So if I hit 1,000 there, it puts 1,000 in here. Now it's not ordering in 1,000 boxes, so you order the number of bags that you want. Now they're available in clumps, so you have to buy 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. And when you pass those prices or those quantities, then you get the discounts. So you can't buy 1,200 bags. You got to buy 1,000 or 2,000 or so on in those multiples. So there's the price. Ex VAT up here, you can see the VAT inclusive price, so 75.24 divided by 1,000, and that gives you your price per bag. So very simple. One last note: thickness 30 micron, 40 micron. How do you know which one you need? You get your free sample, put your product in it, put it into your heat sealer, pull the handle down, press the button, run it across the conveyor, whatever way it works, and melt it. Adjust the temperature, mess about with it until you get the right seal. So you want a nice hot seal. So there's a sample. So that one's sealed, it's airtight. It doesn't melt. There aren't threads. If there's lots of threads and strands coming off it, it's too hot. It's too melting too much. If it's not sealing, you squeeze it and it's not airtight, it's not sealing enough. It's just trial and error to get the right temperature versus time on your machine. If you cannot get it, if you're messing about for days and days, trying about with this, trying to get the right heat seal and just cannot get it to seal, your machine could just be, its minimum temperature is too high for that thickness. And there's a big difference between 30 micron and say 40 micron, or between 20 and 50. You've got to play with it and see what happens. Just give it a go. Try a thicker bag and see if that works. The other thing is, if you can use a thicker bag with a higher temperature, maybe you can pass it through your machine faster. And the faster you can do it, the less time you're spending working for the same money. So something to bear in mind. But that's Polybags. Very straightforward. They always get loads of good reviews. And I've spoken to the customer service a few times in the past. And they're great. They're really helpful. One last note. I did mention documents at the start. If you scroll down to the bottom of any page, you'll see Document Center, and they provide PDF certificates for their products. So if you need a product and you need to prove that it's food safe, you can download the certificate in here. You can download the BRC certificate that says it conforms to the compliance requirements that makes that product, that material, food safe, who it comes from, the full traceability of it. So if you're an EHO, your environmental health officer, comes to you and says, prove that that is a food safe bag, you can say, here you go, there's my certificate of Polybags. That's who I buy from. That's my supplier. That's the bag. And there's the certificate for it. And they're happy. Any queries, you can give Polybags a ring. But yeah, that's one of the great companies I got started with. There's a couple of others. I'll share some more videos with some of the other people I got started that helped me build the business. So hopefully that's useful for you. If you have questions, give us a shout, drop them in the comments, or get in touch. Hopefully that'll help you along.